Okay, this is going to be crisis management and dispatching. There's got to be a lot to be said about this. I'm going to keep it to a minimum because there's no way to cover all the different issues that you're going to be dealing with these trucks, dealing with the owner operators, dealing with the problems the trucks have, dealing with the brokers, dealing with the loads as far as the shipper and the receiver on both ends, dealing with the equipment, the breakdowns that happen, dealing with the paperwork type of stuff from everything from, and I know you don't consider it, but like fuel cards, um, you know, mistakes in actually transporting the product. Driver didn't make sure it was the right load on the trailer, and now he's hauled ass and he's down the road, and it's the total wrong load. Now what do? The bills ain't what the hell is in that trailer. There's something totally different because no, some knucklehead on the loading dock put the wrong product in that trailer, and off he went. He closed the doors, put the seal on, locked it if needed, and he was gone. 300 miles down the road, now you got a trailer that's not with the company, but it belongs to that owner operator or whatever it might be, and it does happen. So, dealing with blowing out tires, time efficiency, time delays. I mean, either which way that could go. But when we go over this, I'm going to give you some basic scenarios. There wasn't a lot of content that I've been able to find on all the different problems because it's just so many. And, you know, the variables behind what makes up the problems for a given day, you can barely get through the ones for that particular day some days versus having to deal with try to remember the ones you've had in the past. I mean, you name it. I mean, oh my God, from fuel filters jamming up to throwing actuators, fan clutches. That's just truck breaking down. How much does it cost? How much delay? What did the bill say? What was the guarantees? The appointment times. If there's a holiday coming up, and did he hit on the holiday? Now he was supposed to get home, and now you got somebody under a load that's now can't make the delivery because that facility's closed down. I mean, it goes on and on. I could just sit here, if I could brainstorm enough, all the bullshit that goes on is pretty strenuous. But crisis management means problem solving. Okay, you're having an issue, crisis, right? And how do you go through these? How do you come up with a resolution? Biggest thing that I can tell you, if you're dealing with these type of problems and you still ain't familiar, remember, I'm a support system for you. That's the reason I get 2%. The whole thing is, call me. Don't hesitate to call me. The sooner you can call me, the faster we can figure the problem out and keep everything moving. And maybe after a year or so, you have it. You're not going to be so tied down. But the biggest thing is balancing the things out. And if you only give me part of the picture versus, who's got what trailer, what kind of trailer it is, what kind of product it is, where does it go, when's it got to be there, what if it's something that's permitted? Now you got delayed. Now the permits are no good because the permits are only good for those days. You got to remember that. If you're going to be pulling, step deck and it's overweight or oversized or it's a route restricted. Um, these things you got to take into effect, man. I mean, this is trucking. It is very diversified. I mean, fluid the way it moves and goes. But anyways, let's get into it. There ain't a lot of content, but we'll go over what I do have. And there are some videos in the back, and hopefully this helps you get an understanding of the different things that you're going to be looking at. Okay, so what is crisis management and dispatching? It's handling the unforeseen events that disrupt the operations. It's managing the risks such as accidents, equipment failures, and delays. It's maintaining business continuity and client trust during the crisis. So it's communication between everybody, between the driver and you and the shipper or the broker, and going up and down the supply chain of everybody involved with that given freight. If you don't communicate the problem, don't think, oh, I can get it handled, and before they know it, you need to have enough experience to know how long it takes to find stuff. Parts was an issue back during COVID. I mean, hell, you could be down 5, 6 days over a dumbass turbo. Um, Stuff that should have took no time for it, no problem at all. Um, but so when you're doing this, keep in mind what time, what is the economy like at this given point? What is the supply chain looking like? Not supply chain for as far as moving freight, but the supply chain as far as your equipment to be able to get the things needed to solve the problems and get everything back up to whatever standard of service that you were providing for that given shipper or brokerage. Now, why does the crisis management matter for dispatchers? It's to minimize operational downtime. Quick decisions and effective action reduce these disruptions. Um, Protect your reputation. Responding effectively builds trust with clients and drivers. That's a 100% truth. Ensure safety. Now, proper crisis management ensures the safety of the drivers and the cargo. Don't get nobody killed over a stupid truck. Okay. Remember, you got weather conditions. You got what part of the equipment we're talking about. Me dragging a truck down the road with blown tires because I knew I could get away with it. It's because I knew I could handle the truck. Could I have been wrong? Absolutely. Okay. I just lucked up. Slow down, turn my hazards on. As long as the tire was out toward the shoulder, so I wasn't in the hammer lane. I was in the slow lane, right? So I knew if those tires came off those rims, the chance of hitting anybody was slim because I know they go out down through the woods. Now if I'm up against a shoulder of a mountain, it could actually go and then hit that mountain edge and then kick it back out to the interstate. I mean, don't think it's not possible. I mean, anything you can come up with that could be the negative side, that's the side of error that you want to, meditate toward, lean toward, because, that's the ones that's going to jeopardize somebody's life, equipment, and additional problems. So, think it through as you're actually in motion. You can't just sit there and think it through, well, this could happen. Do it as you're actually in motion. If the risk becomes too much, shut the equipment down, for example. But there's other factors in there. This is just an example, correct? So ensure safety. Proper crisis management ensures the safety of the drivers and the cargo. Regulatory compliance, meeting legal requirements in case of emergencies. You make sure you got all the stuff on there. They'll give you tickets for and not putting the reflectors out behind the trucks. It'll get you. So make sure your guys understand that you're running things by the book. Now, whatever they do, you can't control that. But as a dispatcher, mention these things to them. Lazy son of bitches get lazy out there on that road. They are lazy. Let's not play around. They're humans. But, I reinitiate what needs to be done if you know what needs to be done, especially for my drivers that you're coming off the road and you're becoming dispatchers now. And you've got to be the assertive one, okay? It's not that they're intentionally wanting to screw things up, but, you know, oh, it's raining. What, man, that's the biggest time you need to get out there and put them reflectors out. Snowing. Hell yeah. And put them out further, because you need to walk them on back out there. I'm sorry you got to walk your fat butt back there. Well, suck it up and do it, because, I've seen them put the reflectors out. Hell, they're so damn lazy. They leave the reflectors right where they're at and just leave. But that's their choice. Um, but anyways, let's move along. I'm not gonna sit here and make scenarios for these because you know what they are, especially you guys that are on, former truck drivers. For you that haven't been logistics, if you want more information on this, please let me know. We can give you more. But types of crises and dispatching, accidents, collisions, on the road incidents, cargo damage and injuries, vehicle breakdowns, mechanical failures leading to delays. Absolutely, very much so. Weather-related disruptions. We're talking about storms, floods, or snow affecting the routes. Regulatory issues, compliance failures, inspections, or fines. Driver issues, I'm talking about illness, fatigue, very, very susceptible to fatigue, or emergency situations with drivers. I mean, they could have had a damn heart attack, whatever it might be. Remember, you got a lot of ex-military out there, PTSD. I'm one of them. I cannot tell you how many times I tell people take the load, shove it in their ass, take a full 18-wheeler with the load behind it, go up through the emergency room parking lot, jump curves, and could give a rat's ass what you're doing, because I'm feeling like I'm having a near-death experience because I suffer from PTSD. A lot of different scenarios and theory behind it, but it just was my path in life, and it definitely disrupted me during the course of my career. What is your role during crisis management? Okay, you need quick decision making, assess the situation, and determine the best course of action. Clear communication, keep the clients, drivers, and relevant parties informed. Communication, communication, communication. Coordination and problem solving. Work with maintenance teams, emergency service, or other stakeholders that are involved, basically the financial side of it, to make sure everything's in motion and that there is a resolution up and coming. Documentation and reporting to maintain accurate records for insurance, legal, and regulatory processes. If it ain't writing, it did not happen. Now it says, preparing for crises, proactive crisis management. I don't know how effective this is because, I guess once you've been living it, you don't really feel like, I mean, there's always something I don't know, but, this is supposed to be the proactive side of it. Now, risk assessment, identify common risks, accidents, breakdowns, weather delays, and prepare. Um, whether it's with the driver or just the year, the equipment, or whatever it might be. Training, regular crisis management training for dispatchers and drivers really doesn't happen. Contingency plans, develop detailed plans for different types of crises. That really doesn't happen. Tools and technology, use tracking software, GPS, communication tools to monitor and manage the crisis. Definitely happens. That's 2024. And it's nothing, it's going to just keep getting more intense and more intense as technology moves forward. All right, now we're going to talk about responses to crisis, effective response steps, assess the situation, quickly evaluate the severity of the crisis, ensure safety, prioritize driver and public safety first, always. Communicate immediately, inform the client, drivers, and any affected parties. Get on it. Communication, communication, communication. Implement contingency plans. Use predefined solutions to address the situation, like rerouting, dispatching emergency services, especially if you're doing hazardous material or something like that. They got a whole plan and book and things to do with EMS and how that's all being handled in the event that there is some kind of catastrophic failure in equipment, like for tankers or whatever it might be. Provide solutions, offer alternatives, emergency repair services, restocking the fuel, rebooking shipments. That's basically rescheduling the delivery or pickup or whatever it might be. All these are going to come fluent with you as you spend more time on logistics. And every problem's different. So how the answer comes out just depends on what's going on. So you got to assess the situation, assess, plan, then implement. Right. Now, managing communication during a crisis, you need to be clear, consistent communication with drivers. Ensure drivers understand the situation and their role in resolving it. I mean, if they're going to be resistant, because you get so much combat out of a lot of drivers. But some people are in the game. This is what their career is, and they will work, and get their feedback. Make sure you ask them questions. Communicate with clients. Keep clients informed about the delays, status, and actions taken. It's not that they're not understanding that you got a problem, but it's just they want to be well, what's your plan? What are y'all guys doing to get my freight to my receiver? With other stakeholders, maintain communication with law enforcement, maintenance crews, and insurance companies. And that's based on wrecks and stuff like that, even OS&D type of situations. Now, this is post-crisis actions, evaluating the responses. Nobody really does this. I mean, they may if it's serious enough because you're talking about legal problems, right? But debriefings, review the situation and actions taken. I mean, is there something you still can kind of fix that might be something that bites you on the ass? It's not you don't want to cover nothing up. Don't start playing that crap. Um, Unless you know that it depends on the situation. I'm not even getting off into that. Root cause analysis, identify the cause of the crisis and how to prevent it in the future. Adjust procedures, refine crisis management plans based on what works and what didn't. And client follow-up, ensure the client is satisfied with the resolution and address any concerns, especially if it's one of your long-term clients. Even if it's not, if you want to do business with them again, make sure that they're satisfied. um, Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but don't let nobody take advantage of you, but make sure that it's a fair outcome and that it's doing it in good moral and good ethical standards. Now, tools for effective crisis management, fleet management software. It helps track the routes, the vehicle status, and locate for real-time crisis management. Communication tools, you got radios, mobile apps, and emergency contact systems. There's so much stuff out there nowadays to be able to monitor everything. I mean, the interstates are covered with cameras. Insurance with legal resources, ensure drivers are covered and understand legal processes. Um, don't just leave your people out there to hang. The companies most of the time will. I hate to say that, but if you can help them, help them. But if you're dealing with a driver that is just an owner operator, try to help him through the best you can. Ask him, give him some advice about what you know from your history and dealing with these situations, and listen to him and try to help him out because he's trusting you to help him, keep loads. I know this some instances this is not your responsibility, but as a fellow driver, try to help him out where you can. Incident report templates help in maintaining documentation for reporting and compliance. Just remember, anything you do is considered evidence, right? Anything you destroy is considered tampering with evidence. So, which way do you win? Which way do you lose? But don't put yourself in a hell of a spot. Now you're looking at jail time for obstruction of law or something, whatever the hell it might be. But just keep that in mind. Okay, managing a crisis. Here's a scenario. A driver of trucks break down in a remote area due to engine failure. Okay, actions taken. Dispatch immediately contacts the driver for a safety check. Are you okay? Are you in a safe place? Etc. Coordinate with a local towing service and mechanic. Tell the driver, what's the plan. Make sure you agree on the plan, the strategy, especially if you don't own the equipment. So make sure this is acceptable procedure. They'll usually tell you they go ahead and engage and find these services for them and let them know about the pricing. So, make sure it's can be negotiated so they're not just getting ripped off. Update the client on the delay and provide an alternative delivery window if possible. Document all the actions and communicate it with the insurance. That's almost bad English. Even I'm having a hard time reading that. But in other words, keep a track record of what's been done, what was done, when it was done, time-wise, and everything. So that way, remember, if it ain't right and it didn't happen, and it's cover your ass type of situation. Depends on the scenario, what's going on. Just protect yourself, because in the end game, this is your career. Some people don't care if you fall or not. So make sure you cover yourself. The key takeaways with all this is going to be prepare in advance. Always have a crisis management plan in place. I don't know how likely that is, but act quickly and decisively. Time is crucial during a crisis. Prioritize safety and clear communication. Use technology, leverage tools like fleet management software and GPS tracking to handle emergencies effectively. Learn from each crisis, obviously. Every crisis provides valuable lessons to improve future responses. In conclusion with this crisis management is a critical skill for dispatchers to master. By being prepared, responsive, and communicative, you can mitigate risk, ensure safety, and maintain client trust during challenging situations. It's a give or take. You're just putting the cards out there and see how they unfold. But always do the best to cover yourself, protect everybody. Hopefully nobody gets hurt in any given situation, or nobody loses a ton of money for some different, whatever it might be in these problems. But crisis management is more than just wrecks and all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's crisis. It just means it's stressing the situation out. It's interfering with the service being provided, and also with equipment being down. It affects the people that are working on while they actually are driving the equipment. Everybody's affected with this. So the whole thing is, how quickly and easily can you resolve it with the least path of resistance? All right, so these are the 3 videos that I found in relation to this. Check these out, and I know it don't seem like these are, some of them are feasible. Trust me, they're worth watching. That's the reason I put them on there. If you find some other content you found to be great, please let me know. I would appreciate it. But the thing is, when you're dealing with crisis, it's going to be not ab lib, not fake it till you make it, but each one's going to be different. So it's really hard to just give a lecture on, well, how you handle this stuff. The variables are so different based on day to day and incident to incident. All right, that's the end of the party on this. So I appreciate everybody. I hope you learned something from this. If you need help or anything like that, please get back a hold of me. We can go over in depth. We can try to find some more resources if you need more practical understanding of how this works and how you handle these situations. But anyways, I appreciate everybody's time and have a great, great day. Let's go on to the next subject.